In this video, we're going to learn how to edit a video podcast inside Descript in just 15 minutes. We're going to cover how to import your footage, edit it down, clean up all of the audio, add templates, make it look professional, add B-roll, add an intro, add an outro, all of that stuff to make your video episode look super awesome. Clock's ticking, let's jump to it. So to start, I need to import my footage. I'm going to assume that I recorded inside Riverside, great platform for remotely recording video interviews, but this will work no matter how you recorded your videos. But for this case, I'm going to jump into Riverside where my episode was recorded, and they do have a feature where you could automatically just import all of your files into Descript and it'll already be synced up. But for the sake of this video, I'm just going to show you what you would do if you had the individual files. So I'm going to download all of my video streams. All right, so footage is downloaded. I'm going to jump over into Descript and start a new project. So I'm in my Descript project for an overview of how to use Descript. I got another awesome video, 15 minutes on how to use Descript. So I'm not going to go into all the details, but for this, we want to import our 3 different camera angles. We had 2 guests plus myself. So you can either just drag and drop or you could import. I'm just dragging and dropping to keep things easier. And so now we got our 3 individual video files that are the 3 different angles, screens of each participant. And we want to sync them up so we have them in a sequence, so then we could do a lot more cool things about switching angles automatically. So I'm going to select the 3 clips and then I'm going to say create sequence. And now because I exported the synced version from Riverside, these 3 videos will automatically line up. If you recorded your video some other way, maybe you did it in person, you just started and stopped different cameras, you do need to sync these manually. We got another video about how to do that. And that will cover, if you recorded your video somewhere else, how to synchronize your different angles so we get them here in this sequence. All right, so we've got our sequence set up. So the one thing I do want to do is zoom out a little bit and just kind of do a skim and just check.
It helps to manage that overall.
That if I do a little spot check every now and then, that no one's talking over each other, that it does seem like all the clips are in sync and it looks good. The other thing you could do here is if you want to change or shift the order of your layers, which does come into play with how the templates work, you can drag and drop your sequences here. If we wanted, let's say, the host, myself, to be on the top layer and the guest to be on the other layer. And now also the other thing that I like to do while I'm in the sequence is this is the only spot where we can individually adjust everyone's audio track. So that's the other great thing about recording everyone separately. If I need to make any changes, let's say there's some background noise or something on one person's audio while someone else is speaking, I can come in here and I can adjust that. We've got another video about how to do that in detail, but the one thing you do want to do, or that I like to do, is turn on studio sound. So studio sound will automatically clean up the audio. It just reduces background noise, enhances vocals. It's just a really, literally one-click thing that just makes your audio sound better. I use it all the time. The one thing though is the intensity default is 100. I find that's usually, especially if someone has a pretty good microphone, too much. It makes it sound a little bit too processed. I like to set it to around 70 or 80% by default. If someone has a garbage microphone, they recorded on like a noisy laptop microphone, the audio sounds pretty bad, then crank it all the way to 100. I've seen this thing work miracles where audio that sounds garbage, studio sound can make it at least sound listenable and pretty good where it's not so distracting or so bad that it distracts from the episode. So I like to come onto each individual track and turn on studio sound and then just manually adjust 80% and it'll run this processing in the background. But we can keep working while it is processing. Once it's done processing, you can preview how the audio sounds. So we're pretty much done setting up our sequence. Again, I got another video about more detail of what everything in the sequence means and does. So check that out if you want a bit more in depth of what this does. But I'm just going to say done. We've got our sequence. And this is the video that we are going to edit with. So I click on this. I probably could have named it something better, but I'm going to say insert into script. So once we add it to the script, it's going to transcribe it. And then it might ask you to identify who the speaker names are. You just add the labels. And then we've got our transcript here of our sequence, but it does individually identify who is saying what. So we could see in our transcript, okay, we have all of the text here, but we also know who is speaking at the time. And so what I like to do next in this next pass is run through the entire interview and start removing ums, bad takes, long pauses, all of the stuff that is distracting. This is a question that comes up in our team internally too, of just like how many ums and you knows do you want to remove? Because you can see Descript already highlighted all of the what they call filler words. And there is a feature where you could automatically remove all the filler words. But I find it's usually a bit too aggressive because sometimes in talk we do have natural filler words in the way we're speaking. And if you were to remove them, it would be distracting and sound weird. But there are other filler words of like long pauses, where when you're listening to an episode or you're watching it, it just slows the pace down and it is distracting. So there is a fuzzy area of like, what is the line of removing too much and not removing enough? So I just like to keep in mind and put myself in the mind of the listener, the viewer, if I kept this in, would this be distracting? And if I removed it, would this be distracting? So that's usually how I like to use the guideline of if we
start, from concept.
Like he says, very quickly here. So if I took that out, it would sound kind of weird and abrupt.
Done work.
Now that can be removed because it had a little bit of a space before and after. We could remove it. It would sound pretty natural.
We've done work international.
I could hear that. We've done work. That sounds better. So I just like to run through the whole thing, clean it up, and start removing the filler words. And we have tutorials on just how to remove text and a little bit more detail on filler words. But easiest way, you can highlight and then just say either strike through, which will keep the text here so you have reference so you know what you removed, or you can just hit delete and it will delete the text and you have that edit here.
All the heads of production.
So we'll run through the script, we'll remove all the filler words. You could also come up here, click remove filler words. I won't remove them right away, and it will highlight all of the filler words, and you can just join me. Pixel is, and sort of the 3 areas. You can just go through and sample every filler word that Descript automatically highlighted, and then make the choice here if you want to remove or remove all. And you have the choice here of if you want to delete it, which is what I just did by hitting the delete key, or if you want to ignore, which is strike through. So you still see the text, but the edit is basically the same. It removes that section of the video from your actual video. The other thing that I do in this pass too is I tell my guests that the video will be edited. So if they want to restart something, restart an answer, or re-say something, or maybe they just misspoke, or they just want to do a better option. So sometimes we will have answers where they're like, nah, I don't really like how I said that. Let me start over again. So I'll delete the part where they misspoke or they just didn't sound as good as they didn't have as clear of an answer as they wanted. Also, sometimes there might be interruptions. Someone's dog or kid comes into the room, and then there's an interruption in the interview. We'll delete stuff like that. So this is the other section too, where you just want to delete all of the stuff that you don't want in your final episode when you're done editing. And now one other thing too, when you are doing the filler words or you are removing gaps, sometimes you might need to get a little bit more finesse. If you just delete the text here, usually it works pretty well, but sometimes it's a little aggressive and it maybe cuts off the beginning of the next word. So let's say that I did cut this off.
Taking this, from 1 week.
And you actually could hear in here, you still hear a little bit of the, from one, even though I deleted, So what I can do is I can click on here on show timeline and expand this. And this gives me a much more precise view of where the edits are. And again, in our other video, we go into more detail of how the timeline works and how to work in this area. So there's just a quick primer. So if you're like, wow, he's going so fast, I don't understand. We got all the links to all the other videos that go into more detail about every feature I'm doing. This is like high level, step to step of what to run through.
Taking this, from 1 week.
So in timeline, quick way, you could just drag the end. So you get a little bit more precise control over where the edit is happening in your video.
We're taking this from 1 week.
And we got rid of that, In some cases too, it might aggressively cut too much of the word. So you can just drag this out to bring your word back. And you could also see that it adds the text back in here of whatever we remove or deleted. All right, so let's say we run through our entire script and we remove all of the bad takes, filler words, long pauses, gaps, stuff like that we don't want in our episode. And so now we have the audio, radio edit foundation of what we want our episode to be. But now because this is a video podcast, assuming there's a video podcast, if this is just an audio podcast, you're pretty much done. You just export it. But this is a video podcast. So we want to make this more visually interesting so people aren't just staring at this boring grid of faces that never change and never gets more interesting. So Descript has a great feature with templates where we can add in layout. And so let's say I'm just going to add a scene here to split up this section a little bit more. And let's say I want to apply a template to this scene. So I'm going to come over here to choose template. And we've got a bunch of templates that we have built, and you can actually purchase them for yourself. So the link for that is down below. I'm going to apply our Slate Gray podcast 3-person template, and I'm just going to click, and it will automatically apply it and put each person's layer in the spot that we already designated when we built these templates. And we can see here, we've got our frame, which is this graphic on here. And then we have our 3 individual video layers inside the sequence. And again, our sequence video, and I keep referring to it, we'll explain more about how this works if you need to do any tweaking. But let's say in this case, his position is not actually the best looking. So the one thing with layers is they are going to be a little pain to maneuver with. So what I like to do is actually click on this top layer and then lock it. So I can't click on it anymore and I can't accidentally do anything to it, because that one we don't need to move, we don't want to do anything. But Michael's layer, now I can click it and I can double click to get into the crop tool. And let's say I just want to reframe, make him a bit more centered, and maybe zoom in a little bit so his composition is a little bit better. And I'll say done, and cool. Now his framing looks a little bit better. Same with Hannah. I just want to zoom in a little bit more so I can lift her up and get rid of the headroom. And great, done. Okay, and I look like I have an evil face, but that's cool. So every time we have a scene, this layout, and you can see it better in the timeline, our scene is from the start of this / to the next /. So this section here, we applied this layout. So we have this 3-person layout, but then after the scene, we go back to our regular layout. Usually in the podcast, we want to go to the active speaker, so we'll just show who is actively talking. But when people are engaging, if someone's reacting to something, then you'll want to go to the 2-person or 3-person layout to see those reactions, to see that interaction. But also just adding more edits, adding more cuts makes the video more dynamic. So when people are actually watching it on YouTube, it's not just a static shot of the same grid. It has a little bit more direction of like what reactions we should see, who we should focus on, who's speaking, what they're saying. It just makes it a bit more dynamic and engaging to watch. But one other thing with the templates, I did show these are part of the templates that we created and you can get them yourself, but Descript does come with a couple pre-built templates. I just find that they don't have as much flexibility, but here if you go into gallery and you go to multicam, these are the angles templates that are built more for podcasting. And so you can see these are included in Descript. You could click and apply and same exact thing happens of what I just demoed with the templates. But these you definitely already have installed in Descript. Now, one other thing, let's say, okay, don't want to bother templates. Sounds like a little bit too much work, but you do want to add a little bit of camera shifting of just at least focusing on who the active speaker is. Easy way to do that is we just come over here and we click on any layer in the script. And then if you see here, we have multicam. And so this actually, we can change which angle is in which box, but you might have just noticed, we could say active speaker. And you can see here on my scenes list that it switched. And so now we can actually
his apartment
actually let Descript automatically switch based on
otherwise.
Who is speaking here. It will automatically just show the camera of whoever is the active speaker in the script. So this is a quick and easy way to quickly change who the active speaker is and just change the camera angles if you don't want to bother manually doing it every single time. Same thing, it applied to whatever was in that section of the scene, which was the rest of the video. But here in this early section before the first scene I added with the template, I still have my old layout. Other way too is if you want to manually just throw someone full screen, we can click on the box here. We have all sorts of control to drag and drop and do all of that. But we could also just quickly say, oh, full canvas, and you'll see, because Michael's a top layer, I can still see him. So I can just hide that layer, turn him off. And you could also just quickly switch and fill full screen different speakers if you just want to manually have that control over who we see. So bottom line, just to recap this, when you are fine tuning and showing the different camera angles, the options we have are you could just manually drag and drop or fill a layer full screen and hide the other layers of the camera angles. You can apply a template, or you can switch and just select active speaker and it will automatically just switch between who is speaking and show them full screen. Now remember, I just manually adjusted the sizing of people in the shot. Let's say I'm going to add another scene here. So we go back, this was a template I applied. I adjusted the sizing of the shots. If I were to apply this same template again, it's going to revert back to the same exact framing that I didn't like. So another easy way of once you figure out your template once, and with podcasting, you're either going to be doing 2 frames, 3 frames, depending on how many guests you have, but it's not like you're going to be doing a bunch of different layouts every single time. We can come up here into our scene that we like, and I can go over here to scene, the triple dots, and click copy layout, and then come back over to that scene that I wanted to apply it to, click inside it, select this, paste layout. And so that just copies all the settings and the layout that I had and pastes it in this new one with the new framing. So that's an easy way of, once you adjust and tweak a template once in one scene, you can just copy and paste it into your other scenes to save a lot of time so you don't have to keep going in and adjusting your shots and all that stuff. All right, last thing that I do like to do in the past in editing the actual video is we put a lot of effort into making this visual. And so when the guest does talk about something, we try to go find video or visuals of what they're talking about and bring it into the episode so that people that are watching it can see what it is that they are talking about. We have another video about adding layers and how to work in the timeline, but basically as you're editing, you can just add different scenes and then add video clips on top of your edit so that we can visually see what people are talking about. This is a very quick overview, but we'll link to another video that goes into more detail about how to work in the timeline. But you can just basically import other videos, import other photos, and then just add it on top of what the guest is saying so that we can visually see.
Company, we are a specialist in virtual production, what we describe.
We can visually see what they are talking about. All right, and then the final thing that you're probably gonna wanna do is import some sort of intro or outro. You could either record that yourself. So if you just want to add a new intro at the beginning of your sequence, you can come over here and then just record an extra bit of you introducing the episode if you didn't already record it, or if you don't have a just regular video that you drop in, or if you do have a video that you have like a quick intro video. Let's say we have our logo here. I'm going to drag it up here at the beginning. So it just inserts it. And now we see we have our intro video here. All right, so, and then it goes into our episode. And same thing, if you want to add anything at the end, you could import a video or just record an outro at the end and add it. And then just to show you what a finished project looks like, this is one where we did the intro where I actually recorded a new intro sitting here in this room, and then we grabbed and copied clips from the interview as a teaser of like what content is to come. And then you can see here in the edit, we have all of our different scenes with different visuals. We have different layout switching, and we also have different sections cut out that we didn't need in the actual video. And then once you're done with everything, got your video polished, ready to go, you can just come over here to publish, and you could either download your video file from the download button, publish it to a link to share with people or get feedback on Descript, or just publish directly to any of the connections that Descript already has built in, like YouTube, Buzzsprout, all that stuff. And that's pretty much it. This was a high-level overview of all of the steps you need to do in order to quickly and efficiently edit a video podcast episode inside Descript. I know this was a high-level overview, so for more details and info on how each specific feature works, we've got our Descript playlist over here. You can go check that out. And we also have links and everything down in the description below, or actually to the left, because YouTube just changed the layout. Let me know if you've got any questions in the comments, anything that needs more clarifying. Happy to make more videos for you. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next episode.